Disgrace.
Oh, nice. Hey, what's going on, everybody?
What up?
Welcome to the Party Up Podcast Live. Yeah, dude, here we are. Second week, a brand new format. So we want to go ahead and thank everybody that's tuning in on Twitch. And if you happen to have missed us on Twitch and catching us on YouTube, thank you very much as well. I am, of course, your host, Eric Big Mosh. And with me, as always, my favorite co-host, Mr. Some Period Love, John Donadio. What's going on, my man?
What's going on, man? How are you doing?
I am doing very well. Unfortunately, This week, Mr. Jordan 7 of 7 TV will not be joining us due to a bit of a scheduling conflict. He has been away on vacation this past week. So we do hope that he enjoyed it. But coming back to the real world has been quite the task, as it is after any vacation. So he's going to have the night off. We also were anticipating to have a special guest tonight, as many of you may have noticed from our posts today. Unfortunately, also due to another random scheduling conflict, we will not be having our special guest, Mr. Pixel
You'll get nothing and like it.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much that's what we're telling you guys. All right, well, we'll see everybody next week.
Yeah, it was great hanging with you guys. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe.
Yes, absolutely. It's a good thing you mentioned it. Yeah, if you're catching us on Twitch, please, by all means, head to the About Us section. You can find all of our links there. If you are catching us via YouTube, you can go ahead and check out all the links in the description. And of course, if you are catching us on our regular Tuesday release via Anchor.fm and everywhere that podcasts are available, make sure you guys head to our link tree, which is linktr.ee/PartyUpPodcast. You can find all of our information there. Like John said, like, subscribe, share, follow. You guys know the deal. Do it. Just do it. It helps us, and that would be greatly appreciated.
Hashtag preach amen.
Amen.
Amen and amen. Thank you for coming to church today. Today we're going to talk about lovely music.
Yes. Actually, it's I mean, it's within the vein of what we do normally, you know, video games, anime, and everything like that. I think we're doing a little bit of a focus on video game music, OSTs and so forth.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, man, how was your week, John? I miss you, man.
I know, I miss you too. It was good. I think I remember most of it. I've been pretty busy. Resident Evil Village came out. Been playing that.
Yes, it has. Yeah.
Because I will be writing a review for it, so I had to start playing that. So I had to take a break from Nier. As many of you remember, I've been playing crap out of Nier. And actually, because of Jordan, I started replaying Horizon Zero Dawn lately and just falling in love with it all over again. The game is so much fun.
Stellar. Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for the second one to come out officially.
Oh, I'm so pumped now.
Yeah, Frozen Wilds was a great DLC to that game. I had a lot of fun with that too. Yeah, overall just a fantastic game.
How about yourself, man?
Oh, you know what, man? It's been an interesting week for me, and not so much in the with the idea of like doing things, because I don't do anything anymore. Just mentally, it's been kind of like a weird week. So, as anybody out there may have heard us mention, me, John, and Jordan have all been through this kind of weight loss journey. Together and doing things on our own and everything like that. And I've been, dude, I hit it. I fucking hit it, man. I hit that plateau. I hit that.
It happens.
It's not the first time. Now, don't get me wrong. You know what happens when you're losing weight. And I've done it before where I hit like a steady range on my weight and it won't budge. Right. The first time it happened, in about a week, I got kind of past it. And, you know, I saw other improvements and other things I was doing, so I was happy. I was okay. But dude, I have not been able to break past the lowest I weighed at was 291. And for the past 2 weeks I have been between 291 and 296. That's the range. Right, and for 2 whole weeks, dude, I have not been able to break past that, dude. I've been trying everything, but what sucks is that the biggest thing that I've learned in the journey that we are taking, that I'm taking, is that your brain is really, really like where a lot of it stems from. Both in the fact, both in the areas of succeeding and failing, and just, you know, with everything that you're doing, it's not just a physical thing; it's very much so psychological, emotional, mental, and you know, it sucks because like you want to be able to go out and have a good time and do things. So like, for instance, like I got this massive spike. We went out for my wife's sister's birthday 2 weeks ago. And that's essentially where it started. I went out and, you know, I was feeling great. I just hit a new low on the scale, was doing everything physically. I felt fantastic. Went out, celebrated the birthday, had a ton of sushi, got a 6-pound spike on the scale. And I was like, fuck, man, like, all right. You know what? It is what it is. I'll work it off. It'll disappear. It's between sodium and what I ate and everything like it, you know, whatever. Sure. Man, 2 weeks of just going up and down and trying to like get physical. And then this past week, what was going on this past week? So I finally managed to get down to the 291 and I felt, dude, this is it. I broke it. I broke the plateau. I got it. Yeah. And I ended up going out to the bar. Actually, the reason why I didn't do the stream on Thursday to play more Rocket League was because I was like, I'm going out to the bar. The plans are being made. And and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going out. Dude, went out, right? Now, at this point, at this day, I had hit the scale at 292.6, which was the weight before the day before I went out to sushi for 2 whole weeks, and I hit the dead on, right on the number.
Yeah.
Bro, I was like, all right, I'm good. You know what? I'm going to go out. And I was very mindful. I ate light. I kept within like my counts and I crushed the physical game, bro. I did everything. I did all my walking. I did my yoga. Went to the gym. Yeah. I like killed it. So I showered up and I felt like fucking $1 million, bro.
Yeah.
I go out, I drink, I get wasted. And I hit Taco Bell at like 3 in the morning. And I was like, well, there it is. Surprise. The next morning, I jump on the scale thinking I'm going to see a spike. I actually ended up losing 1.5 pounds.
That's great.
And I was at the 291 mark.
Yeah. Stupid
ass me gets overly hyped. Now, here's the thing. There was already talks of round 2 happening Friday. Right?
Yeah.
I was on the fence because I was like, man, going out to drink. Granted, like I should be able to go out and enjoy myself, but going out to drink a second night in a row might be detrimental to my progress. So I didn't know how I wanted to approach it. I ended up losing weight, even though I had the late night shit meal, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, let's go, baby. Daddy's going out, feeling great. I even did better. Yeah. As long as I keep that up and I repeat that process, I should be fine. No.
Yeah, nope. You know, it's funny. It's almost like the Twitch chat. Everything in your body is on a delay. So no matter what you do, like it will always like, welcome to Fitness Nerds. Yeah. So no matter what you do, you're gonna feel it like a couple of days. You know, it's like your plateau happens and you get a little frustrated. You start doing everything that you want to do. Right. Yeah. And it's like, all right, well, let me cut back now. Let me do my thing. Let me continue what I'm doing, and you jump back on and you see that go back down, so like, have a couple of days, you know what I mean? Like, have some fun. You went out drinking a couple of days, like, big deal. You know what I mean?
Well, just that wasn't just it. So I did 2 nights at the bar, and miraculously enough, now mind you, I've mentioned this before. I have kids, stuff like that. Even though my wife is working at the bar and everything and running everything over there, she's used to this late night schedule, and typically I'm home because of the pandemic and everything like that. So I have to get up at 7:30 in the morning to get everybody prepped for their day. Right. Get the kids ready for school, take out the dog, feed everybody, make sure everything. Yeah. Miraculously, even after 2 nights, I got up, did everything. You know what I'm saying? And then I just would go and just pass out while everybody was gone and then done. Right. But it was 2 nights of drinking, and then shout out to our old co-host Juan and his beautiful girlfriend Blair. Their daughter Sienna celebrated her first birthday over the weekend. Oh right, so happy birthday to Sienna. Birthday. And so we went and we did that, and of course there were sandwiches and cheese and all this other stuff. So I sat down and was like, you know what? Screw it, man. Whatever. But just like mentally, like the point is that mentally it's like, you want to be able to go out and enjoy these things. I don't want to be one of those dudes that like goes out with his friends like, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. And it's funny because people will go ahead and bring that up. People will be like, oh, I don't know like what your diet's like. I don't know what you're doing. So, we have this and we have that. And I'm just like, no, I'm just going to, it is what it is. I'll participate and enjoy myself and blah, blah, blah. Right. But I enjoyed myself too much. I ended up having a bit of another spike. And then yesterday I was just like, man, like I was exhausted. I was tired, bro. Between 3 days of doing shit and everything else, I was exhausted. But then mentally I was just like beating myself up because I was like, bro, like I'm going to go at like 9:30 at night, bro. Exhausted as shit. I dragged my ass out and did like a 1.5 mile walk because I had to. I had to like feel like I wasn't being a piece of shit. Like I had to go out and be active and do something to make myself feel better. And it was just like, it's just crazy. So like this week, like mentally, it's just like, been wild, been crazy. I haven't really done much otherwise, but like, you know what? Today was a good day. Today I hit the gym early. I got in my walking. I did a nice core workout right before the stream. Actually, I was just like, I'm gonna get sweaty before the stream, so I don't have to get sweaty during the stream. But it is what it is. It's Sunday. Sunday for me is like the top of the week. It's really where I get mentally and physically prepared for everything else coming up. Yeah, so I think it was a good start to a new week. So I'm hoping that moving forward in the next couple of days, I got a trainer now because I'm like one of those guys. No, I just need the little, a little bit of guidance as far as all that. So,
right.
But yeah, I'm stoked to go have my training session and everything like that. So it's a brand new week and hopefully a better one moving forward. So
sounds awesome.
So yeah, man, now that I've managed to kill 15 minutes of talking about weight loss, which I'm sure everybody's always excited to talk about.
Oh yeah. You know what? It's come for like the nerdy shit and stay for the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like we have a plethora of knowledge in between all three of us.
Yes, we do.
That we could continuously go on and on about. But we tend to stick to the nerdy.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. Actually, it's really funny too, just kind of like shifting away from like this week into today. A shout out and a second shout out, like I said, to all the moms out there. I almost forgot.
Yes, that's right.
Happy Mother's Day to anybody out there, whether you're a mom, a pet mama, you have a mom, whatever. Happy Mother's Day to all of them, to everybody out there.
All the moms.
Yeah. So that was another thing too I was scared about. I was like, fuck. Mother's Day. There we go. Another thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Another fucking time. Yeah. But we were good. We were good.
Just as a real quick aside, remember that you can participate in all these things. It's just moderation, right? Like that's what we were taught.
Yeah.
It's moderation.
Yeah. No, 100%.
So like enjoy yourself, but eat just less that you normally would. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, you don't have to like go crazy.
I have a bad habit of like loving cheese. Like that's my that's the thing. But I know
if you don't like cheese,
I mean I get it, vegans, whatever. Okay, whatever. Vegan cheese is really good too. I've had that.
But even vegan cheese is great.
Vegan cheese is great. But yeah, like I can't control myself, man. I see it and I'm just like, I need it. I need to eat it.
One of my favorite snacks, especially because of River, one of my favorite snacks we have always in the house is just like string cheese, like 2%,
so good.
String cheese. So my God, dude. Whenever I feel like the need to feed, just rip them off.
That's also like a throwback.
Fitness Nerds, snack. Episode 1. Let's go. That's it. We're changing the name of the show. Nerds. Everyone can piss off. We're called Fitness Nerds now.
Listen, it's our show and we do what we want, and
that's right.
And we need to compensate for the fact that we're 2 people short than originally planned. So we got to make shit up somewhere.
That's true. I wanted to talk about aliens, but I got next. I'm just saying.
I guess. I mean, we could, but I don't know. I feel like that's like. I feel like that's just. I gotta be high for something.
You gotta
like
have one clickbait episode. You know what I mean? Like top 10 popular culture aliens. Clickbait 101.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, we'll slot it in for next week. How about that?
Okay, great.
I have a strong feeling that Jordan will be with us and everything. Yeah. Next week. Yeah, tune in to next week's live stream and to the podcast.
Yay, popular culture aliens.
Yeah, we're doing pop culture aliens next week. There we go. Set in stone. Boom. Conversations we normally have outside of the podcast. Or you know what though?
It does fit in. It does fit in the fact that we will be doing Friday fantasy. And then Sunday, go right into sci-fi with aliens.
There we go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Friday. Stick around for Dungeons and Sandwiches on Friday.
It's Friday. Yeah, what's the date on Friday? I don't even know. Let me
the 14th.
The 14th. Yes, May the 14th.
That's right.
At 8 p.m. here live on Twitch or post on YouTube. You can go ahead and catch Dungeons and Sandwiches. Yeah, man. I don't know. Like I was saying, throwback snack, the string cheese. I remember playing so many video games, just snacking on string cheese, man. Just a little kid, you know what I'm saying? It's such a great snack. And talking about throwback things,
I think the only other I know that other people tend to snack on chips and things like that when they're playing games, which I can't stand because I hate the oils and all that stuff. And I don't want it on my controller because I am like a obsessive compulsive about my controllers. You know, like I don't want any dirt on them. I clean them all the time. I love my controllers.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I hate the grease, but I have seen some controllers that I'm just like, did you deep fry this thing? Like what?
Yeah, right. Like, everywhere I went, I always brought my own controllers just in case.
Well, now post pandemic. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's the rule. Oh, yeah. Bring your own controller.
Yeah.
Don't put your greasy hands on my shit. No way.
That's right.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna transition into this week's conversation, but can't cut it because we're doing it live, baby.
That's right. You can cut it for Tuesday. No offense, Tuesday people.
Nah, fucking. I'll leave it in.
All right. Okay. Hi, Tuesday people.
It's raw and unedited.
That's right.
Video game OSTs. That's today's topic. That is today's topic.
Yeah.
Dude.
We're not going to do a segue. We're just going to talk about it.
No, we're just going to talk. Yeah. Fuck it. I don't have a license for a segue. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't even need licenses to ride those things.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird. Ride a skateboard like a real man.
I don't have the balance for a skateboard. I know we keep going on tangents, but...
Gotta work the core, bro. Gotta work the core.
I know. I have weird. I'm a weird, clumsy asshole. Like
Fitness
I always have
nerds.
been. I would knock shit over all the time, and
oh my god,
fitness nerds.
I used to skate all the time, but I'm gonna bring that point up later on because it definitely falls into our OST conversation.
I know exactly where you're going, but all right, let's do it.
I know. But yeah, man, actually, so prior to us doing this for the podcast on Sundays, I like to do a little SoCar Sunday, play a little Rocket League, just kind of chill out before we do this. And our good friend Mr. Drinks joined me yet again this week. And I was hyped because I thought I was going in solo, and I had brought up how Rocket League has like one of the best soundtracks as far as like current like modern games go.
Oh my god!
And we talked about it last time. I think last time when you were on the stream with me on Wednesday, I mentioned the same thing, and and yeah, dude, the music is so good. And I brought up the point that music, people, I'm sure people are aware of its importance, but people really don't understand like how music, whether it's in video games, which we're gonna put out our lists, but like video games, anime, movie, we've mentioned it tons of times on the show. Music is such an integral part of the process of the production value of the final product.
That really is one of those things that make or break a good something. You know what I mean?
100%, like absolutely.
You could totally destroy a scene with a bad song. You know what I mean? Like, and it happens more often than you think in like movies and stuff. But yeah, like a bad soundtrack can just be detrimental to a movie.
No, 100%.
Or anything, for anything.
No, absolutely. It's all about setting the tone, certain portions of whatever you're like, if, for instance, a single player game, music can really like elevate the tension or, have it be more fun and exciting. Movies particularly. I mean, listen, we talk about Marvel ad nauseum on this show because we're fucking fanboys. But they do a fantastic job of having soundtracks that really just bring the action to like a whole other level, make you feel those feelings. Like it's so important, man. We talk about it in anime too all the time. That's like one of the biggest critiques ever.
Oh yeah.
Is music.
Because
I'm gonna tell you right now. No, you have to. It has to set the tone. It's got to match. It's got to be, especially when you're like first getting into a series. Like, so for instance, we were talking about last week with our nerd burnout thing about like, at least for me personally, like the hype train is really what ruins things for me. And I finally said, you know what? I'm going to get into some things that I probably should have by now. And one of those is the anime Demon Slayer.
Okay.
Dude, that intro to Demon Slayer, that opening track is so badass. It is like, it's perfect, man.
I don't really watch much of it.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
you got it. It gets so it's really funny. So randomly, my son saw me watching an episode. I'm like on like episode 10, and he looks over and he goes, "Hey, is that Demon Slayer?" And I was like, "How do you know about Demon Slayer?" And he's like, "Oh, one of my friends was talking about it, and they were watching it, and I saw part of it, and I think it's pretty cool." And I was just like, "Do you want to watch Demon Slayer with me?" And he goes, "Well, I only saw like a random part of an episode, but yeah, I'll start it." And I was like, "Yes, absolutely." And like, dude, I'm telling you, that intro music for that show is like just so spot on. It gets you into that exciting vibe. You know, it's going to be actiony, and like, it's cool. I think overall, I think that's like, I can see why people jumped on that anime, because it is really, really good. But yeah, animes, movies, and like, we're gonna talk about video games, man. You, especially being like so deep in the video game world, I'm sure you have a long list of video game OSTs.
Oh, dude, it was so hard to like cut them down. Yeah, it was really hard to cut them down because I wanted to be like, oh, I should stick around like 10. But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, oh my god, dude, there's so much. Like, I don't even know how to separate it. I'm not going to go through an entire list, but like, I mean, I have a lot on it.
All right, go ahead, man. Let's go a little bit through your list. See, here's the thing. When I was making my list, I didn't really write anything down. For me, a lot of like the video game music stuff is really based on nostalgia and iconicism. Sure. Like how, like, there are games out there that you hear just a fraction of the sound, and you're like, I know exactly where that's from. I used to love that game. So that's where a lot of my picks are coming from. But I'm sure with you playing so many games, you probably have a long list.
Most of mine came from a lot of retro games, but also obviously a few normal ones, because I thought like big picture OSTs, like either ones that are so iconic, you know what I mean, or the ones that are like impactful in the game, like it makes that game even better than the game it was already. You know what I mean? Like, and so like one of the retro games that I don't remember how many people remember some of the music to this, but the Ducktale games. Did you ever play the original DuckTales game?
No, actually, I never have.
Dude, amazing soundtrack. And then they remastered the game a little later, like on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, I think. And dude, it's so good. Like, to this day, I could listen. Yeah, I could listen to the DuckTales game soundtrack. Like,
what
the Amazon board,
did it
the
come out on
Moon-based.
originally?
Originally, it was on Nintendo.
On Nintendo?
The NES. The original NES. Yeah.
All right, you know what? I'm going to add that, because along with a lot of the stuff that we're doing, the Thursday stream is supposed to be our edition of Backlogged, but it's Throwback Thursday. So NES, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and try to play. Maybe actually coming up this week, I was trying to think of a game. You know what? That's going to be it. Thursday, DuckTales, NES.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
Yes, the DuckTales game is so good. Another one that I had that like really loved was the second Mega Man specifically. The Mega Man series had a really good soundtrack. Like every game, even so like 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, I can remember like distinctly. And like Mega Man X was awesome. Like
big time. Absolutely.
But 2 specifically is one of those ones that have like the best soundtrack.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. Dude, oh my God. I really, really wish that scheduling worked out for Pixel Perfect, because I had brought up, so us discussing OST has been an idea we've had on the table for like a long time. We actually wanted to do something either on Twitch or YouTube where we would review video game OSTs, because there's just so many out there that are super iconic, and so many out there that are like I said, you hear it and it's just like nostalgia city. Like, you know exactly what game it's from. And me and Will were actually talking about it because I wanted him to be on the first episode of it. And he had mentioned Mega Man X. And if for anybody that checks out any of her content, you can hear how heavily influenced in the 8-bit and chiptune genres his music is in, especially his early stuff, and that he attributes to the Mega Man series, and like that goes along with like a lot of people. So like a lot of even like current day like bands and projects that do like live music but integrate video game stuff into their sound. That's it. Mega Man is like one of the top titles for them as far as like chiptune and 8-bit. Like, I think you can't go wrong.
If you put in Mega Man 2, especially if you put Mega Man 2 into like YouTube, there are like 100 artists that will try and recreate some music. It's incredible. Just some of the one of the ones that really stands out is he's got this gigantic beard and I forget his name. You know what? Let me. Even I know we're live, and I know you could usually cut this out, but
it's fine. Doing it live, baby.
There is a guy that I would
live.
specifically like to give a call out, but we'll move along. I'll find him as we're doing this. But
cool.
But yeah, Mega Man 2 was just one of those like. Smooth McGroove is his name.
Smooth McGroove.
And he does like this acapella, but it's just him. So he records himself doing each piece of instrument in chiptune.
No way.
Yeah, and he puts it all together, and
that's sick.
He's
so
unreal.
Dope.
He is a very talented.
Throw up the link in the chat,
person.
so this way anybody that's catching us can go ahead and check out his stuff too.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna check it out.
I'll pick the Mega Man 2 one that he does too.
Oh, that's so sick, dude. That's so dope. I know, actually, just from talking to Will about it, talking to Pixel Perfect about everything. I know that a lot of times the people that do produce that stuff, I mean, acapella is crazy. The fact he's doing it that style is wild. I definitely want to check it out.
It's so good.
But I know a lot of times, and I've seen it done live too, is so people will take the old school gray brick Game Boys, and they will mod them and connect them to a soundboard and to music pedals typically used for like guitars and stuff like that, and looping systems and all this other stuff, and they will play chiptune and 8-bit music that they produce through the Game Boy and use all the other. Yeah, dude. Watching this shit live is bananas. Like awesome. You have to be a massive gearhead to even know how to put some of this stuff together. And I've seen Pixel Perfect's like setup as far as like stuff that he has. He's one of those dudes. He puts all that stuff together, man. All right, cool. That's gonna be the link. Awesome.
Yeah, I threw it in the chat for anyone that wants to see the Smooth McGroove stuff.
Nice.
But moving along, I wanted to talk specifically about so the old school series that have some of the best music is the Kirby games, Yoshi's Island.
Yes.
Yeah. And top number one for me will always be Legend of Zelda. Legend of Zelda has some of the best, and I'm going to admit this, you know how much I hate Ocarina of Time. But it has one of the best Legend of Zelda soundtracks in the entire series.
See, I knew that I liked you for a reason, John. you know when to call out the truth, and that, my man, is the absolute truth. First off, let's backtrack.
It really is.
Kirby. Holy shit, dude.
Kirby has the best. Dude, when I have songs stuck in my head, Kirby's are the ones I have stuck in my head, and I don't know why.
Oh my god, dude. I hear it in my head right now. You just mentioned Kirby, and it's just him, just that first forest stage, just going around, just like dude, my god.
Yeah.
Iconic, absolutely iconic. Kirby games have always been so much fun, but dude, that is a perfect example of how a soundtrack can really elevate the experience, because when you think of Kirby, when you play Kirby and everything that the Kirby franchise is, dude. Yeah, dude. Oh, that's it. Dude, Kirby is the definition of like whimsy to me.
Yeah,
when it comes
like,
to,
how could you not like it?
Dude, and the soundtrack is just so good. It's so iconic. Absolutely agree. You said what else? What else did you say after Kirby?
The Yoshi's Island games.
Yoshi's Island, definitely great.
Have, like a really good, like fun, you know, and it works with the game. It works with that, like, you know, that happy Yoshi feel to it, you know, like
100%.
Just so good.
Listen, I'll be completely honest. I mean, we've already said Yoshi. You said Kirby. A big one for me is anything Mario related. Really?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like any Mario game.
Yeah, and if you think Mega Man 2 has a following for music, Mario is known literally everywhere.
Yeah, it's
everywhere. Everyone knows the Mario theme.
Yeah,
you know,
100%. Dude.
It's just like, come on.
People know it, man. People know it. I'm gonna go. Even, dude. You know, it's really funny too. Donkey Kong.
Yes.
Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Donkey Kong Country.
Dude. Yes, dude.
Yes.
Oh, so good. Okay. Nintendo, like we're not going to turn this into a Nintendo fan session right now. Not at all. But I have to go ahead and at least state this and say this publicly. In my opinion, Nintendo just does OSTs the right way every time. I don't think there's ever been, at least again in my experience, I don't think I've ever played a Nintendo game where I thought the soundtrack was shit or bad. It's always been so spot on with the genre and what you're doing and what you're playing. Metroid.
I would like to specifically say the Nintendo games that they make, like their IPs. Yeah, Nintendo 100%. IPs. Yes. You know, Metroid, Mario, Legend of Zelda, you know, Donkey Kong, all of their stuff. Kirby and Yoshi and everything, like like Yoshi's Mansion has some particularly great stuff. Animal Crossing has phenomenal music. And it
does.
I wasn't a huge Animal Crossing fan, but their music is so good. Like Animal Crossing New Horizons, I used to just leave on doing shit just so I could hear the music in the background. Like I love that soundtrack.
You know what's crazy? Because we're talking about Nintendo stuff. So, Pokemon also included in that.
Another one.
Absolutely. The Lavender
Another
Town?
one.
Another one. Yeah, DJ Khaled over here. Yeah, dude. It's crazy. They just nail it every time with their games and the soundtracks. You hear everything. Even I mean, we'll get into this at some point. I know we are. Yeah. But sound effects. Also, you know, iconic sound effects.
Nintendo,
iconic sound effects. But yeah, dude, it's funny too because you brought up Legend of Zelda, and that's absolutely on my list as far as like soundtracks go. Every game that I've played, as far as Zelda is concerned, there has been just all the music, man. Kakariko Village, the woods, everything.
But even the original series for NES, the Super Nintendo, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Yes, absolutely.
The newer ones also have that very like orchestra version of its own stuff. Like the music, the little bit of music that sneaks into Breath of the Wild is just, I mean, A tier. I mean, it's just so good.
No, 100%. 100%. Listen, you're giving much respect to the Ocarina of Time very much deserved, because there is since you brought up orchestral, there is a orchestral version of the Ocarina of Time soundtrack, and it is magnificent. Like, I can literally like, I've always been like a fan of like classical music ever since I was young, because my father was really big into classical music, and still is. But like, there's just like, there's a whole other appreciation, at least again in my opinion, when you can take something like a soundtrack from a video game and translate it into sheet music, and, you know what I'm saying, really like expand on it with an orchestra and all these grand productions of that music. Dude, it is probably one of the most beautiful things like I've ever listened to. Like, that whole orchestral version of that soundtrack is amazing.
It's funny that you mentioned that. And I want to go back to Legend of Zelda, but it's funny that you mentioned that, because I do have, and I don't know if the light will catch it, but this is the Nier Automata orchestra, like Blu-ray that they did. They had a concert in Japan, and they also had one in Chicago, and they had a London also. Yeah, and so, but I obviously couldn't get there, so I was like, I need to see this, you know. And bro, it is phenomenal, like. And it's one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Like, it's like one of my top 3 soundtracks of all time. And to hear it in this grand orchestra is like, I mean, like, at some point I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Like,
it's where you just put on the headphones, turn off all the lights, and just consume, like, let it consume you completely.
Oh,
like,
dude, it's unreal. And like, I remember this came out, this announcement for a pre-order for this came out the same time for the Nier Replicant. I splurged that day. I was like, I am buying that Blu-ray. I was like, I am buying that collector's edition. I was like, this is my life right now. And it comes with like a Yoko Taro like autograph and stuff. And it's like, I love it. So I was so happy with it. So, but yeah, one of my top 3 of all time is Nier Automata.
That's awesome, dude. That's so crazy. Yeah, dude. Yeah. When you're able to really like, it's just all about like the emotions you feel with a lot of these games. Because I mean, obviously people out there are just like, well, how do you feel feelings when you play video games? Like, you should. Right? You really should be feeling something, like joy at least.
Something, right?
You know, but like, there's so many games out there that the music is such a big part of the minds behind the games really take the time to be like, okay, we're putting this out. We need to have a soundtrack that suits the mood, that really will envelop the gamers and the participants in our world. And we need it to matter. Dude, for instance, World of Warcraft. I played World of Warcraft for a long time. And I'll tell you something right now, man. You want to talk about epic soundtrack? Like, this is like Lord of the Rings status. So, you know what I'm saying? That's basically what World of Warcraft is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can't have the Kirby soundtrack while you're trying to raid in World of Warcraft. True, you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? But like, dude, it's so magnificent. It's just so grandiose that like you really sometimes just sit there and just listen. You just listen, and it's just like, this is the tone that needs to be set.
That is me for Skyrim. The Elder Scrolls games, Oblivion and Skyrim in particular, have an incredible soundtrack. Yeah. Like, it makes me feel like I am on that adventure. It makes me feel like I am in danger when I'm fighting something that's a high level because of that music they throw in there. Like, sneaking around these caves and stuff, and there's just this light violins and stuff, and it just immerses you in this fantasy world that you're building yourself. You know, it's like, it's the reason why I try to have like just like little tunes in the background when we play Dungeons and Sandwiches, because like you want those like fantasy sounds, you know, like, and Skyrim does that really well. Oblivion does too, but Skyrim
It really does,
because it's the most that I play, you know.
Nice. Yeah, dude. Listen, it's all about ambiance. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really, really important. And like those small things that really like make those moments in gaming when it comes to like the activity you're participating in and the soundtrack. You can't talk OST without bringing up Doom. You can't. You cannot.
It's true.
When you are ripping and tearing through demons and shedding blood across the hellscape, how can you not bring up the dude? Like, I'm personally really big into like everything punk rock, metal, hardcore, all that stuff. Dude, when I listen and I play Doom, like that gets you in. You're just like, I'm gonna murder everything. It's so good. It's so good. It gets you blood pumping.
It's something. Yeah, it's something that like that I remember, because I had to what's it called? I had to review Doom, and I remember like bringing that up. Like, it was just like, there is something about it, like especially the new Dooms, Doom 2016 or whatever it was, and then Doom Eternal, and like the subsequent games that came in between that and after that. Just incredible, like well-placed metal music. And then mixed in with like this like orchestrated like cutscenes that have like this amazing swelling like angry music, and it's just, I mean, it's fucking brilliant. You know what I mean? Like,
dude. Absolutely.
It's really funny. The guy's name.
That does the produces the music.
Mick Gordon is his name. Yeah, Mick Gordon, and just a visionary for that fucking game. Just so well done.
100%, dude. I remember when we were doing March versus last year, when we had Doom Guy in the ranks.
Yeah, we had Doom Guy.
And so part of the production for the podcast was reading like some stats, some bio on each character. So I was like, oh, let me toss in that. See, even that, like, you got to think about that. Like, I can sit here and talk about a character, but to talk about the character with music from their game really like sets the tone. It's like, oh man, you're really getting into this. So I had to do it that way. I'm going to tell you something right now. Doing his little like bio portion of the show, after I was done like editing and doing everything for that, I listened to the Doom soundtrack like 3 times over in the same day. I was just like, this is awesome. You know what? Like, this is shit I regularly listen to. You know, like I couldn't help it. It was so good.
The Doom soundtrack has hit my my workout playlist.
Oh,
like,
nice.
It is.
Yes.
Dude, I've never been more pumped in my whole life than like listening to the Doom soundtrack while you work out.
Metal, deathcore, all that stuff. Like, they got influences from like so many amazing bands, and they got people to play for these soundtracks that are just like big names in the metal world too, and it's just crazy. It's crazy how well produced everything came out to be. It's so good. I mean, what else? You're not gonna be slaying demons to hip hop. I'll tell you that right now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I could see maybe like BTS. No, throw in some K-pop. You know?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. But you know what? Actually, it's funny because I brought it up earlier. You knew where I was going with it, but like I said, along with metal music and hardcore and deathcore and all that stuff, punk rock is like one of like my other big genres. And again, another game. You can't talk OST without bringing up this title. We all know it's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, bro. Dude, half the reason why I purchased the remaster for Tony Hawk 1 and 2 on PS4, I got the collectors and everything, is because that is such an iconic soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what, when you skate, like you're listening to all these awesome, like, it's such an amazing blend of music too. Like, whereas like Doom like specifically stays within the realm of metal, Tony Hawk touches on punk, ska, hip hop, like a lot of like street music, stuff like that. Like it's so well put together. I mean, even for the remaster, they included not just like iconic tracks from like the original versions of 1 and 2, but they also added like newer tracks within that realm of music within those genres. Dude, again, they nailed it. They nailed it, dude. Sometimes I won't even play it. Sometimes I'll be like on my phone while I'm playing Tony Hawk, just listening listening to the soundtrack because it's so good. It's actually really funny because I made a comment to my wife. So playing it, there was a song on. There's a song on that was called My Bloody Valentine or something like that. And I was listening to it. I'm like, wow, this song is like really catchy. It's like a pop punk song. And like, I really dug it. And I didn't know who played it. And I look at the corner of my screen. And after, mind you, after I already was just like, yo, this is actually a pretty dope track. I wonder if this is new. Who is it? It was fucking Machine Gun Kelly. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Yeah. So it was a song that he had put out, and they put him on the Tony Hawk Pro Skater with his, the latest album he put out, which was, Tickets to My Downfall, so he completely jumped ship. As far as like genre goes, he was doing like hard, like rap and all this other stuff.
That's
and then
because what's his name?
Because Eminem,
Slim Shady, new one.
Because of the Eminem beef, he was just like,
I
can't do rap
Eminem
anymore.
Murder.
Murdered his rap career.
I know, right? The Tony Hawk one, especially for me, Tony Hawk 2 was like a bigger thing for me as far as soundtrack goes. Like a lot of the songs are on my Spotify playlist, you know, I mean, but you had like Rage Against the Machine, and you had Melancholy, Power Man 5000. You had
dude, Papa Roach, I believe,
Swinging
was on
Utters. I mean, just some really good ones that like Bad Religion was on there.
Oh, it's such a classic punk band, bro.
Yeah, like just a really great one. Like, and to this day, I still listen to those songs because they're just like, they're just so iconic.
I attribute the Tony Hawk soundtrack from 1, because I played it on 64. I attribute this soundtrack to a big reason why I'm such a big Goldfinger fan today. That's really funny. That track Superman became the Tony Hawk anthem, and that skyrocketed them as a band, and it was awesome. And even to this day, like I keep listening to like their later stuff. They just released an album not too long ago in 2020, and it was fantastic. And I'm just like, man, if I never listened to Superman and Tony Hawk, I wouldn't be listening to this awesome album right now. It's crazy.
Do you think Tony Hawk is happy?
Of course, man. Of course he is. That dude put skateboarding on the map, along with so many others that really were like out there, like during the 90s and stuff, bro. Yeah. Like Tony Hawk Pro Skater was the reason why I started skateboarding. Yeah. Like the reason why I was like, dude, it was amazing. Like that game did so much for so many people, and a lot of it played into part with the music too, getting people into that type of music, man. I'm looking through my list because there's a couple of modern games that have things that stick out now to me. Modern games have it too,
like Cuphead. Cuphead has a fantastic soundtrack. It's like jazzy chaos, because that's what the game is. I mean, it matches so well to that game. Right. It's at that big band classic cartoon feel. But like, jazzy chaos is like the best thing I could think of. That's,
you know what it is? They had to go with that 1950s style jazz band, big band feel, because that's the influence on the animation. Right. That's where the influence comes from.
Right. Because anything else probably wouldn't have worked as well.
No way. Yeah.
It matches like the feel, it matches the colors, it matches everything. Like that makes that game so great. And so incredibly frustrating because having to listen to it over and over again for like a million times trying to beat one of those bosses. Yeah. It's like, oh my God.
Just a flapper girl just dancing around in your head. Like,
the fucking drums are like, like the Birdman soundtrack. It's like, jazz drums.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Listen, you know what it is? That game, when I think of Cuphead, I think of the word aesthetic, right? It has a very like throwback aesthetic, the way it's animated, everything about it, a real like callback to those types of cartoons and everything. And a lot of people think aesthetic really just deals with the visuals. No, the music is definitely I consider a part of that as well. I think it's what gives.
I think it's what gives video games the impression of art. It's not just the graphics, it's not just the story, it's also the music and all, you know what I mean? Like when it all comes together is what makes it art. I mean, guess separately it's art too, but like I know when people go like, oh, video games are an art, you have to take in consideration like the music and things. So like people are working on in an artistic way, so you can fuck off.
No, 100%. Also, real quick before you jump off this point, you have to understand that a lot of concepts when it comes to video games start off on paper and with pencil and people drawing a character or drawing something. How you can sit there and try to argue that video games are not art, you need to, you know what? I'm not even going to be mean about it. Just reconsider because it's not, you know,
like just reconsider art. Like think about all the work that goes into it. You know,
absolutely.
One of my favorite games of all time, Symphony of the Night, has a fantastic soundtrack.
I knew it.
Yeah. I mean, you had to be prepared, right? Like that is one of like staples for me. So I'm just going to move right along. And one that I know Jordan couldn't be here, so I wanted to bring it up too, because it is in my list. It's Final Fantasy VII. The original is amazing. And the remake does a really good job with keeping that aesthetic. You know, like they just did the remake has, again, they obviously had more room for a soundtrack, in the data file, so the more orchestral, sound to it, and it's very large and very wonderful, and the fights feel, more impactful because the music is swelling, and it was well done. Whereas like the original had great tunes and probably inspired a lot of people to go into, music stuff too. But it's pixelated because it was an earlier game. But the remake really amped it up. Really did a wonderful job with what they did there.
Yeah, all the Final Fantasies, to be honest, I think people will agree that they have iconic soundtracks. I mean, the franchise alone, is iconic in itself. So yeah, absolutely. The boss battles, the traveling through the worlds, everything like that. Everything, not just with Final Fantasy, but in a lot of games we see that, you hear a song or, you hear music playing for like a particular area, and that will forever be ingrained, like I said with Legend of Zelda as well. Those locations, those moments in those games will forever be ingrained in your head because of the music that's being played. You remember what was going on in the game because of certain music tracks.
The Final Fantasy VII remake really it cried out in me something that I really wanted Square Enix to do because they own that IP is Chrono Trigger. I want now a full remake of Chrono Trigger because of especially what they did with the music from the Final Fantasy VII remake. Just the graphics alone, like Chrono Trigger is an impactful game in my life, but like the music still was another one of those games that I go to when I sing songs in my head. It's just one of those games that just pop up like Kirby, you know what I mean? Like, and they're two very, very different, soundtracks, but Chrono Trigger has a fantastic one, and now I very much want a full remake of that game. Akira Toriyama, come on, man. Let's pull in the influence train. Let's go. Give us what we want. No,
100%, man. You're talking about all these nostalgia titles too. Actually, a game that I just thought of like right now that has it's going to live on to be one of those games that has like an iconic soundtrack, and I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. But oh man, the title of the game is slipping me for some reason. It has that character Sans in it. Why can't I think of the title? Oh my god!
Oh, the one that Jordan talks about all the time.
Undertale.
Yes, Undertale. Undertale is a really good soundtrack, though.
Dude, yeah.
I haven't played the game yet, but like I've heard, the soundtrack through, my YouTube loggings and whatever. I've come across it, and it is really good.
Yeah. No, I've heard it because my kids play Undertale. You know what I'm saying? They play it. And I'll tell you right now, if they ever recap to this in the future and they go, hey, remember that long time ago you were talking with your buddy about OSTs? Oh, Undertale is definitely going to be one of those games, man. And that game blew up, man. Like, it's crazy. And like, I can't deny the fact that I've never played the game, but I'll hear something from that game and I'll know it's Undertale. Like, I just know. It's just it's how it works.
Well, I'm sure that was one that Jordan would have brought up because it is one of his favorite games. I'm glad that it came up in the chat. I have two that are dumb, but I love them. But I just want to give a quick mention to, because one of them is Mario Paint. And I know we've talked about Mario games, but Mario Paint has a special place in my heart. I love Mario Paint. For the youngins in the crowd, Mario Paint was on the Super Nintendo, and it came with a plug-in mouse and a mouse board. And it had everything from making music in a chirptune way to drawing and painting and stuff. There was a fly swatter game in there. A mini game for some reason. I don't know why, but it was there. It was just like a point and click game. And they did like all kinds of little things. And it was just a really neat game. But the music, not the ones that you could produce, because you could produce some really great stuff. But all the other stuff you were doing in Mario Paint had just a great soundtrack. It was just a fun, interesting thing to throw in there. And the other one, just real quick, it came from Xbox Live Arcade back on the Xbox 360, I believe. And it was a game called I Made a Game with Zombies in it. And it had like one producer, just one kid that made like a top-down shooter where like, you were just like this little thing, and there were zombies or whatever that would come around and try to attack you, and there were geometrical shapes that would attack and the whole thing. And it had a great soundtrack that this kid made, but like he just sings that, like, the one part of the thing is like, I made a game with zombies in it, and it's just like the funniest fucking thing, because he just like didn't know what to play anymore, and he was just singing about a game that he made zombies in, and it's the funniest thing. One of my favorite Xbox Live Arcade games ever made, and I wish they would bring it back, because I would pay for it. Like, I would pay for it. Like, so good.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Actually, you mentioned zombies. Another game that absolutely, if I hear it, I know exactly what it is. Plants vs. Zombies. Plants vs. Zombies has a really yeah. You hear it. Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. It's just like, it's so like subtle, but like, you know what it is. You know exactly what it is.
It's like the mobile games had that effect on people, right? Like Angry Birds, everyone knows the Angry Birds thing. Like, I didn't even play a lot of Angry Birds, and I know that theme for some reason. Like, I just...
Oh man, I mean, listen, you got to include mobile games too. They have to have like some type of soundtrack, something. Yeah,
I mean, not. It's not as much as like whatever, but there are a couple like Plants vs. Zombies, Angry Birds. There are a couple that really got big to the point where like their stuff, like their soundtrack.
100%. A game that I also think of that I'm surprised we didn't mention yet is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, Sonic is a very iconic soundtrack, and it's funny because when I think about Sega Genesis, it's one of the only ones that come to mind even though they had a lot of different games and like the Sega, had a whole bunch of stuff, but like it's one of the only series that I can distinctly remember the soundtrack for.
Yeah.
No, and that's 100%. Weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I think that really just comes down.
I mean, hands down. That's why
you know what? Honestly, I think that really comes down to like whether you were a Nintendo kid or a Genesis kid. I really think that's what it kind of plays into, because
actually, you know what? No, you know what? Fucking Sega Genesis had Toe Jam and Earl, and Toe Jam and Earl has one of the best bassy, jazzy little soundtracks.
Walking around music.
It was great. It was a great soundtrack.
Yeah, no, that's definitely one. That's definitely one, man. I'm trying to think back, man. I'm trying to think back to any other like games. I mean, anything, like I said, anything Nintendo was big. Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. Actually, I really, I don't mean to keep harping. Like, I know that I think we maybe had like 2 or 3 like modern games, but the Red Dead Redemption games have a really fun Western soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Like that kind of feel to it, like,
yeah.
And I love that stuff. I don't, whatever the South and West, the Old West. I love the Old West. The Old West was so ridiculous. Right. Not all the racism, but the rest of it was cool.
Oh man, excuse me, my eye is like bothering me.
You're good.
No, dude, 100%. I
God
agree.
Of War games.
Oh, what was that? Oh, God of War. No, yeah.
See, and like it's funny because like.
No, go on.
Sorry,
sorry. I can't see you. You're talking. I just hear you. My eyes like itchy.
No, that's all right.
Oh God, we're live. My eyes.
I think of like my eyes, my brand.
My frames.
Like I feel like we could go on and on about OSTs, especially in gaming, because it's like. I feel like even as an audience, people will be like, "Oh, what about this? What about God of War? What about this game? What about this? What about Halo? What about this?"
Oh, Halo.
Yes, all of those games have amazing soundtracks. Halo is, a staple in the science fiction first-person shooter, whatever. Like Gears
100%.
of War has a great soundtrack. All of these games have good, impactful soundtracks. You know what I mean? Like no one will say that they don't. Destiny has a great soundtrack. It's just like for what it is. I love it. Like I think it's important is what we're saying. Like all of these big games, yes, are big, not just because of the things that they do and the hours of gameplay that we put into it, but there's this like subconscious thing about music that attracts us to a game.
Yeah. I agree. No, 100%. I mean, listen, the whole point, right, of having music in your game is, like I said, it's used to accentuate certain moments. It's used to differentiate locations. It's used to build emotion. Yes, exactly. Build emotion, connect you with the character, differentiate who's who sometimes just by the music that's being played when they're around. You know what I'm saying? Like they have their own themes, everything. I mean, just to have fun with. I mean, you mentioned Red Dead and like the Western soundtrack fun that is. That immediately made me think of the GTA Vice City, which hands down for me was one of the best GTAs. And the soundtrack for Vice City was perfect because they had to encapsulate the 80s in that game, and they went with, you know what I'm saying, both titles that were real music and stuff that they made up on their own. You know what I'm saying? Like that, what they did it. They
actually, you know what did that really well? You know what did that really well also was when Far Cry 3 came out, they made a DLC called Blood Dragon. And it was this retro 80s neon crazy, like whatever, but it was like, futuristic 80s, and it was awesome. And the music, they nailed the music. It's like the one thing that makes that game. And it's like a 30-hour DLC. It's so good, and the music is just incredible.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely necessary.
I played the crap out of that game.
Dude, music.
The one game in my whole life I 100%ed.
Really? Oh wow! Look at you.
Yeah. Okay. It was one of those games I just couldn't stop playing it.
Nah, man, music is like, I mean, I know people that like, I don't know, man, music in general. I know people that are like, yeah, I don't listen to music. And I'm like, how do you live?
Psychopath?
Like, yeah, I was like, do you just do shit like silently, like drive? Like, how do you?
I really like the thoughts in my head all the time.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, I don't like music, or I don't listen to music, and I'm just like, you're crazy. Like, you have no soul. I don't think you have a soul.
There are times in the car where I don't play music either. It's very randomly,
but you play something, right?
No, I mean,
sometimes you need the silence. I'm not gonna get.
No, absolutely. I get that.
Don't get me wrong. After
but if it's
really
your
crazy
go-to when
day
you're
at
driving,
work,
like you're a psychopath.
Yeah, no, yeah. If silence is your default, then there's something wrong with it. You are.
Yeah, totally. You just listen to the voices in your head, I guess. Mine sucks, so I need the distraction.
But yeah, dude, music is so integral in everything, man. It's like movies. Obviously you need music for the movies, whether it's like songs that they pick and choose for certain moments, or if it's full on like orchestral stuff, like stuff that they produce strictly for the film. Imagine watching a film with zero music in it, like a current film, I want to say.
Right.
Because I know, obviously, back in the day, black and white, blah, blah, blah. So, then, I think even then, black and white films still had something, like at some point.
Well, the silent movies were all music, because that was the only thing they could do.
Right, exactly. Perfect example. They needed that music to make their points.
There are some terrible experimental films that have no music, and it's unsettling. There's something about it that's really unsettling.
Visible disgust.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, that's art. Anyway,
oh man, dude, music
just like
is so
really
important.
funny. I think of some of the movie soundtracks that I love. It's like imagine and the person that does the instrumentals is important too, because there are some like John Williams and you think about Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all the stuff he's done, and then you think of like Danny Elfman, who works with Tim Burton a lot, like
big name,
but you know what I mean? Like you think of, like he did the original Batman soundtrack,
Men in Black.
He did like Beetlejuice, you know, he did all the big Tim Burton films, but imagine them switched, like imagine Star Wars done by Danny Elfman and Beetlejuice done by John Williams, and it's a very different movie then, you know what I mean? Like
the sandworm scene is now a Dune scene.
You know, like Danny Elfman Star Wars would be like,
oh my God. Yeah, no, you're right. You know, picking the right, that's essentially with multiple things as well. You got to pick the right person for the job. And if they didn't pick the people they did, then the experiences would be completely different. Right? Imagine a Marvel movie with an anime soundtrack.
Yes, and I have.
But like a strictly K-pop like anime.
It would be amazing. Like imagine Spider-Man swinging through the thing, and it's just like, I am. You know, like, come on, that's great. I want a Spider-Man anime right now.
I'm sure there is one. I'm sure there is something out there.
Actually, the X-Men anime is really good, and the music is awesome.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing like the '90s cartoon anime sound, the X-Men soundtrack, but right, exactly. But the anime one's pretty good. So yes, I don't think I would hope that nobody would disagree that music is important in gaming and music and anything. I hope nobody in our
please.
Our audience is that insane. Why don't you guys also tell us on social media, just throw up your best OST. Let us know what you guys were interested in, or if in the chat now, throw up something that you really loved, because we've been We talk about all this stuff all day long. So
yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that's what we're here for, man. That's what we're talking about today, is talking about the importance of music and the OSTs we love and will always remember. I mean, like I said, dude, we've spoken about this ad nauseum with everything we've ever spoken about: movies, anime, video games, everything. Music is such an integral part of the process.
Yeah.
Not just creating, not just the creation process, but the consuming process. To sit there and thoroughly enjoy something, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, music cues your emotion and makes you, it allows you to feel anger for this part, as well as happiness for this, joy, whimsy, everything. It's so important. No, it's true, man. You know what I'm saying? Imagine the Kirby games with, you know what I'm saying? Like a Halo soundtrack. You know, like, it just doesn't match up. It's all got to match up. You know, there's such a high level of value when it comes to music, as not just in film and anime, but in video games too, because that's essentially it. When you play video games, right? Not just even in multiplayer, because like I said, we mentioned Rocket League. There's also multiplayer games out there that you have soundtracks that work. They got to get your blood pumping in you into the mood and stuff like that. But there are single player games that's part of it. They not just want to envelop you in the story and the character development and make you feel like you're playing an experience, but to have an experience, you need that soundtrack. You need the music to really bring everything up to par and really just to have a good time with any content.
Yeah, I think multiplayer is tough though, because there are certain multiplayers where it's not integral to the gameplay, like Call of Duty. If I hear music and it washes out like steps, you know, and like, you know, the chatter of, you know, gunplay and stuff, so I know where, like the audio cues. Right. If they had music in that blocked that out, it would be annoying to play. Right. It's different in Halo, because Halo's just like complete chaos, and that's what makes it fun. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
I do think that the exclusion of strategy, because that's where Call of Duty falls in. You need strategy. You need to be able to hear. You know what I'm saying? What PUBG, the way technology, the way technology is developed. Like now with our headsets, we hear the panning. We can tell footsteps are coming from our right or from our left, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, technology is really, sound effects is definitely like up the game as well, but that's also part of the experience. Like, you need sound effects as well. Like I mentioned earlier, you know what I'm saying? Like, along with music, sound effects, the sound of a coin in video games, you know that sound. I said it, coin, video games, you know it. It's the Mario coin. Or the Sonic coin.
Or the Sonic coin.
Or the Sonic coin. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all these, like, the power-ups. Certain games have, like, all these little, like, these just quick half-second little sound effects.
You just know.
And you just know.
And can make or break that experience, too, in the sense that, like, when you think of, like, Call of Duty Zombies, like that, or Left 4 Dead or anything like that, when you got used to the noises that things made, it became important to that gameplay, you know, like,
because then you knew what enemy was approaching. Yeah,
right,
100%,
exactly.
Absolutely, sound
Although
effects.
Call of Duty Zombies is a good one for a soundtrack, because that's what envelops you, the scariness. Nice. In fact, I've been playing Resident Evil Village, bro. The soundtrack and the horror and stuff that like comes just from the soundtrack alone. They did a really good job with it. It's something that I'm absolutely going to mention in my review, because I am like loving it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? That's important to think about too, because, like, for instance, like with any type of scary game, sound effects, horror it needs sound, it needs music for you to really feel that level of anxiety, you know, the stress. You know what I'm saying? The build, because all of a sudden you're hearing, like, you know, you hear like a small build in the background, and then all of a sudden it's that dramatic, like, piano, and it's just like, oh fuck, god damn it, like, you know what I'm saying? That really gives you that accent, it gives you that punch with that experience. Yeah, absolutely, man. It sound effects and music will and forever go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? It's part of the soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? That's just part of it. You can't do one without the other. Cannot.
I agree with you.
But yeah, man, there's so many.
We don't often agree, but I agree with you.
There's so many awesome titles, so many amazing soundtracks, so many things that are just through the history of media have become so iconic, you know?
And we could do this for another 2 hours if you know what I mean. Like it's just one of those topics, and we could always come back to it for other things.
Yeah,
but,
no, 100%. I mean, I think
I'm
sorry, what did you say?
No, I'm saying like I would like to talk to Will about his experiences with and Jordan as well. Obviously.
No, yeah, 100%. I think essentially, I might try to do that sometime in the future. You know, we're always trying to roll with different ideas and do stuff for the stream now and for YouTube and stuff. Yeah. And I think, as long as scheduling allows it and it doesn't become too much with everything else we're doing, I think at some point, I think it would be wise to do like an OST review kind of thing, because then we can really sit down and focus on like the titles that we really enjoy and really get to analyze.
This was a hodgepodge of games.
Yeah. You get to really sit down and kind of analyze and like
a smorgasbord, if you will. This is a smorgasbord of music.
Yes,
that we talked about.
A musical feast.
I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. I wanted to say smorgasbord.
Yeah. It's all good. See, now I'm getting hungry. So now
Now I want a smorgasbord. All right, this is over. I love you. Let's keep that.
Yeah. I think now with hunger kicking in, I think it's time to start wrapping it up. My body's telling me it's time. But listen,
you
what? You mentioned, John.
It's just the two of us. It's just the two of us.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
I think it's okay to have a little bit of a shorter episode, and I think everyone will be happy with what we had to talk about.
Yes, I think we touched on a lot of iconic titles, soundtracks, and everything like that. And like you had mentioned, John, listen, anybody out there that has their own list, has their own titles, so they're just like soundtrack 100% A+, let us know. If you're on Twitch right now, head to the About Us section. All of our social media is there. Twitter is probably the best place, to contact us directly and to speak with us. So join us on Twitter, but all the information is there. If you're catching this post stream on our YouTube, check out all the links in the description. And for anybody else that catches it on our weekly audio through Anchor and Apple and Spotify and so forth, make sure you guys head over to our link tree, which is linktr.ee/partyuppodcast. You can find all of our information there. And speaking of all information, John, why don't you let the listeners know how they can follow you and all the fantastic stuff that you just said you're doing a game review. How can people go ahead and catch that?
Oh, well, thank you. You could go to Twitter and Instagram at Some Beardy to Love. That's the number 2. It's not spelled out. You can go to gamingaccessweekly.com. There's news and reviews there that we do all kinds of stuff. My review will actually be going up on blog.gfuel.com. That'll be a G Fuel one. And, of course, you can go to fablebeardco.com and use coupon code SB2L15 for 15% off all of your cart, and get a nice handsome beard for the summer coming, or spring. A spring beard.
Actually, I might have to start taking you up on that offer, man. I gotta grow this baby out. I got the luscious locks.
They have, they have like a shampoo, conditioner. They have all kinds of stuff. Yeah, all right. It's great.
Nice. I'm going to have to use that discount, boy. All right. Yeah. All right, man. I think we did a great job. I think this has been a fantastic live edition of the show. OSTs, baby. OSTs. All right. So we'll be back next week. Like we said at the top of the show, I guess we're talking about pop culture aliens. I guess because John got so disappointed that we couldn't do it this week. I think that's what we're going to do. So we'll talk all about the sci-fi genre and everything like that. So make sure you guys tune in to our live broadcast next Sunday here on Twitch for the podcast live. This coming week, you can expect our streams to be on Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday, we're going to be doing our edition of Backlogged. I am going to pick a random game, more so on the current side, or try to be as current as possible. A title that maybe I have missed in my library and play some of that. So stay tuned with all the social media stuff. We'll be making announcements there. And then on Thursday, we're doing the backlogged edition, Throwback Thursday, where now, thanks to you, John, I'm going to be playing Ducktales on NES, and I'm going to check it out, and I'm going to make sure to listen for that soundtrack.
Oh, yeah, heck yeah. You will not be disappointed.
All right, guys. So to everybody tuning in to us here on Twitch, YouTube, and on the audio stuff, thank you so much. Make sure you share, follow, like, subscribe, do everything. And we will see you guys next time here on the Party Up Podcast. Peace, everybody.
Bye.